Hi guys, and welcome back to Irony Completed. So I had to film a video today because I don't have any backup videos anymore, and I thought that instead of just like doing my makeup and then doing the video, I would also do a get ready with me as well as the video that I'm going to film. I haven't done a chatty get ready in a while. This is not going to be any particular look, just kind of something everyday and spring-like, and I wanted to use my new Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. There are a couple looks that I want to film with this palette. For instance, there was one look that I had in my last empties video and someone did request a tutorial on that, and I am going to do a kind of go-to bronzy smoky eye tutorial at some point, but for the time being, for today, we're going to have a nice, chatty, spring-ish makeup tutorial, probably. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling today. Oh wait, my mum bought me this headband to wear in videos, so I'm going to wear it in this video. Okay, so I kind of look ridiculous, but my hair's on my face, so this was successful, I guess. First thing I'm going to do, because I have really dry skin, is spray some Pixi by Petra Glow Mist all over my entire face, just to let that absorb into my skin while I do my eye makeup so that my skin is nice and hydrated. I did already apply moisturiser. It's a Soap & Glory one I'm trying out. And the next thing that I'm going to do is apply some eyeshadow primer. I'm using the Decay Original Primer Potion. So I have been trying to get some revision done. And I did a couple hours of revision this morning, and when I finish filming I'll do a few more hours of revision. But dear God, it's so boring. I forgot just how boring it is. I really hate it so much. I decided just to zoom in on my face a little bit just to make life a little bit easier. The first thing I'm going to do is take white chocolate and use it to set my primer that I just put down. I'm especially paying attention to setting this crease area because it makes blending easier. I'm actually going to mix the two highlight shades, so the shimmery one and the matte one that I just used. I'm going to mix them and then highlight the high point of my brow bone. Because I want a little bit of shimmer, but nothing too crazy. As a transition shade, I'm going to take Milk Chocolate really, really lightly. So I wanted to ask you guys, do any of you know of a good lash and brow serum? Specifically eyebrow serum, because I like my eyebrows, and obviously my eyebrows are quite naturally talented, to be fair, but I would like to grow them out a little bit more. I wasn't in focus for any of that, was I? No matter how much I blend on this eye, my left eye, it always looks patchier than my right eye, and I think that's because I have freckles like right here on my eyelid, right here. I don't have them on this side, so it makes it look patchy because the freckles are showing through the eyeshadow. It's not necessarily like the eyeshadow or my blending, it's just the freckles. It's kind of annoying. It's really, really kind of annoying. Next, I'm going to take my favourite colour in the entire palette, which is Salted Caramel. It's a really like orangey toned brown. I'm going to take it on like an angled blender, and I'm going to really pack that in. I'm going to get it on the outer corner of the lid. I'm going to blend it up quite high. And I'm going to blend it really, really lightly into the inner corner. The vibe that I'm going for spring and summer is going to be a very like 70s soft, bohemian-y kind of feel with lots of siennas and burnt oranges and mustard yellows. I am kind of blending a little bit like higher up towards the brow bone because I quite like the way that looks on the inner corner. I am going to take a clean blending brush and diffuse the edges. I'm kind of blending just above the colour as opposed to on the colour. For the majority of the lid shade, I'm taking this shade here, which is Hazelnut. I'm going to put it on my finger over the majority of my lid, starting with the most colour from the outside corner and softening it as I get towards the centre. and I'm not bringing it into the inner corner. And once again, I'm just very softly blending out the edges and diffusing that colour up into salted caramel and milk chocolate and those other shades. For the rest of the lid, I'm taking creme brulee, and then I'm going to put an even lighter colour in the very inner corner at the end. Creme brulee has to be one of my favourite colours in the entire palette. Just, oh. Look at that. Using my fingers, I'm going to blend it into the hazelnut colour. And I'm also going to blend it again quite high into my crease in the inner corner a little bit to make my lid look bigger, because I don't have a lot of mobile lid space. You can see that's just really brightened up my eyes and made everything look super, super bright and awake and spring-like. For the tiniest little bit of darkness, I'm going to mix Cherry Cordial, which is this like glittery red, but the glitter doesn't show up on your eyes, it shows up more matte, with the darkest brown, which is Semi-Sweet, which is a matte. I'm going to mix it on this little pencil brush, and I'm going to really focus that in the outer corner. I'm going to take off a lot of the excess because I don't want this colour to be too intense. I'm just kind of buffing it in like circular motions right into the outer crease area. Then I'm going to really, really blend and diffuse that colour. I'm also going to retake Salted Caramel on the same brush that we had on before and just make sure that that orangey hazy pop is like still there above all the other colours. But I'm taking the tiniest amount and I'm really kind of just adding that to make sure there is a halo of orangey brown above all the other colours. It's still the main focus. Once again, just very, very softly blending that. So that's it for the eyes for the time being. Now I'm going to move on to my base and I'm going to work on my skin, etc, etc for a little while. So I'm going to prime first, and I'm going to use the Collection Primed and Ready Anti-Fatigue in Warm Apricot, which I mentioned in my favourites video. I love this primer. It's a really great thick texture, so if you have dry skin you'll probably love it, but it also does fill in those pores a little bit, which I also appreciate because y'all know that Professional is one of my favourite primers because I have a lot of pores, and this is like Professional combined with strobe cream or another hydrating primer. It's great. So the foundation that I'm going to use today is the L'Oreal True Match. This is the new one. I've not really had this very long, so I've not really experimented with it much. I must say that I think that this formula is better than the original L'Oreal True Match formula, and I really like the original L'Oreal True Match formula. So, you know, and then I'm taking it on a damp Real Techniques sponge. The flat side of this makes applying foundation really, really easy. I don't know if you can tell that it's like one shade darker than my skin, but I can cope with it, so I like the new formula even better than the original, I think, because it's like got the same kind of finish, and which is like a satin natural finish, which is probably, you know, my favourite because it's just good for all skin types and all times of the year and stuff like that. And it also has the same kind of consistency. It's a very thin consistency, which I really like. But the coverage is amazing. It's, well, in my opinion, the original is like a medium coverage and now it's like medium full. It's extremely great at covering, and I've also been finding that it sticks to my skin better. My main problem with the original L'Oreal True Match was that certain foundations don't stick to my nose very well, if that makes any sense. Like, they don't stay, they just, I apply them to my nose and then they disappear. I don't have oily skin, so I don't really understand it. but that happens with certain foundations. With most foundations, actually, I find that it happens. It doesn't happen with this one though, and it happened with the original L'Oreal True Match. The concealer that I'm going to be going in with today for my under eyes is the L'Oreal True Match Touche Magique. I rebought this. I talked about this in an empties video. It was also in my Project Pan, another one of these. And I also mentioned it in my products for pale skin video as having extremely fair shades. And I repurchased it because I was going through my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer really quickly, and I just need an everyday drugstore under eye concealer, and I like this one just as much as the Urban Decay one, so I figured I'd just rebuy this because I know it's good. I do like to use a highlighting concealer every day as opposed to one that matches my skin tone and then only highlight for certain days. I actually really think that highlighting like this every day can look really natural, and I really like doing it. And using a bright concealer, I'm going to bring the excess from under my eyes just around the sides of my nose to cover up any extra redness. And can I say, I know I mentioned this sponge in our favourites video like 2 months ago, but can I just say that using a sponge for concealer is the best method of applying concealer in my opinion. It just, everything just like sinks into the skin so nicely when you use the Real Technique sponge. I actually forgot to get powder, so one sec. So the powder that I'm going to be using is the MUA Skin Define Hydro Powder, which I really like. And I'm just going to make sure that there's no creases on my under eye, so I'm not setting those creases into place. And then I'm actually going to use the sponge to apply the powder. I know people mostly use sponges to apply loose setting powder, but I actually find that this works really well with this particular pressed powder. It just melts the powder into the skin. I sometimes find that if I use a brush, I will disrupt the coverage and I will take off some of the concealer, but not when I use a sponge. As you can see though, I really like this powder. It's well loved. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm not going to put any like powder or pencil in my eyebrows, but I am going to put in some L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper, just because I don't necessarily like filling in my eyebrows every single day, but I always like to put in a tinted brow gel, especially if I'm not putting any other product in them, to redefine the shape and to make sure that they are just a little bit more defined than they usually would be. Have you guys been enjoying any TV shows lately? Since coming home, I've been obsessed with 2 shows. I was rewatching The X-Files with my mum. We've been rewatching that like for the past few nights. We've started off from series 1 of The X-Files and just kind of are starting to work our way through. We're pretty much finished with season 1 now. I think we've got like 3 episodes left of season 1. We've only been watching like 2 or 3 a night. And they're really surprisingly long series. And the other thing that my mum really likes that she's really gotten me into is Lucifer, which is about a guy who is the devil and he refuses to like work in hell anymore. It's great. It's really interesting. Surprisingly interesting, actually. It's a good TV show. Got a good cast. I'm just gonna blend out the edge of the eyeshadow because I don't want it to be a sharp line for this particular look. Then I am going to take Salted Caramel on the same angled brush that we were using before. And I'm going to blend this all under my eyes, and I'm going to join it up to that outer corner. And actually that's all I'm going to do to the lower lash line, but I am just going to quickly go back and make sure that the entire eye look is blended, including underneath my eyes, because this is something that I just like to do when I'm finished an eye look. I don't want to define my lower lash line too intensely because this isn't a like super smoky nighttime look or anything. To add a further highlight to my inner corners, I'm going to take Marzipan, which is the shade above that gold shade that we used, and it's like a pinky champagne kind of tone, but it's a little bit darker than Champagne Truffle, which is the shimmery highlight in the palette. And I'm going to take, it's like a little flat smudgy brush. I'm going to take this all in my inner corners and underneath as well. And I'm going to blend it into creme brulee just to brighten up the entire look. And then as a real pop, I've cleaned off the pencil brush that I used before, and I'm going to take Champagne Truffle, which is the shimmery highlight. I'm going to get just a little bit on the pencil brush, and I'm literally just going to go pop to brighten up my very inner tear duct area. Now I'm going to curl my eyelashes with these Kiko eyelash curlers. Probably my least favourite part about doing makeup. I'm not going to do any eyeliner or anything. I'm just going to apply some Eyeko Black Magic mascara, which is my favourite daytime mascara because I feel like it gives your lashes a really like fluttery look. And I'm actually going to do my lower lashes first. My hair out because that headband was slightly hurting my head for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why, but it was slightly hurting my head. I'm not going to contour today, but I am going to use a bronzer, and I'm going to use the Too Faced Soulmates bronzer. And I think I read reviews of people not liking this, but I really enjoy it. It's a sheer bronzer, like it's definitely not the most pigmented product in the entire world, but I just think it gives such a natural looking glow to the skin. I'm not contouring with this, I'm literally just dusting it around the perimeter of my face. Like I'm not bringing it along my cheekbones or anything, just the perimeter of my face and slightly where I would put blush, and then under the jawline. And I do really enjoy using bronzer, especially as it comes to the warmer months, because I don't really naturally tan very easily, if at all, so I like to just make my face look warm, and I find that that one's really nice because it's a very natural finish and not too orangey but very warm toned. It's not matte, it's like a satin sheeny kind of finish, but not like sparkly, which I really like. I'm going to use Pink Cloud by the Natural collection for my blushes today, on the other side of this double-sided brush that I use for bronzer. It's from number 7, and I'm trying to use this up because it is in my Project Pan Finish 6 by Summer challenge, and I want to get rid of it because the pan is broken and there are other colours from this brand that I like more, so I just want to get this over and done with so I can buy some different Natural collection blushes basically. I'm just going to kind of apply this to the backs of the apples of my cheeks, how I usually do, in an angled way. When I apply blusher in this angled kind of position, it just lifts my cheekbones quite a lot. I find that it makes me look like I've contoured even if I haven't necessarily contoured that day. Airplane. Cool airplane, it's fun. Wow. The highlighter that I'm going to be using today is the Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked highlighter in Pink Lights, and I really like this pinky kind of colour for spring. I think I used this in my Valentine's Day tutorial, and for some reason this like lavender colour makes me think of springtime, whereas like goldeny highlights make me think of summer and more icy highlights make me think of winter. This makes me think of spring, so I'm gonna pop it on the tops of my cheekbones using the Vintage Cosmetics Company Fantail brush. Something to bear in mind if you're gonna buy this product is that it's a very intense and shimmery kind of highlight. Like, it's not natural. It's very, very shimmery. And if that's not your jam, then just don't bother with these Makeup Revolution baked highlights because they're very, very shimmery. But if you're like me and you live for that glow, go for it because they're intense. And honestly, my aim this spring is to be able to be seen from space with my highlight. Like, I want people on Mars to be like, girl, you know she's using that good stuff. I'm going to take a tiny bit on the brush and just do this on my nose. And here on my nose as well. And then a little bit on my finger just to highlight the Cupid's bow. And so now that I am bronzed up and glowing for the gods, I want to apply a springy kind of lipstick, and a colour that makes me think of spring a lot, and one of my go-tos last year, I think it was in my first ever favourites video that I did, was this e.l.f. Lipstick in Cool Coral. I think it's the mineral lipsticks. I can't remember. I got it in a sale a while ago, so like a corally, like coral, pinky orange kind of coral with a gold like sheen to it, which makes your lips look really like juicy and pretty. But if you're not into shiny lipsticks, then go with, you know, don't buy this one because it's very shiny. So that is the completed look for this video, with, you know, just really super warm toned, earthy kind of coloured eyes, a coral lip, and a nice bronzed and uber glowing complexion. I am definitely going to be feeling strobing and highlighting and super warm toned earthy colours this spring and summer. Let me know if you want to see any other kind of spring summer looks. I'm definitely thinking about doing something with a pop of colour along the lower lash line, because that's something else that I generally gravitate towards in the warmer months. And if there are any other looks that you'd like me to do with the chocolate bar palette, then let me know about that as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and you'd like to, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Tumblr or Instagram, they'll all be linked down in the description, along with everything that I'm wearing and all the products that I used on my face in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!